Hello traders, my name is Tomasz Wiśniewski. I'm a chief analyst in Alpari Research and Analysis, and this is daily analytical report. So a short webinar, well, half an hour webinar, where I will tell you what's going on the markets. We will discuss markets from the fundamental point of view and from the technical point of view. We will try to look for decent trading occasions. Okay, let's start with the calendar. Because we are ahead of an important data which will be published in 29 minutes. It will be CPI from US. We will be able to watch the reaction on this data live. Well, it's always lottery, right? But ahead of this data, American dollar is stronger. Is having a bullish correction, and we'll see if this one will continue. Recently, we got data 1 hour ago. Actually, we got a bank rate from Bank of England, which remained unchanged. Voting was 7-2 as expected, but after this data, British pound got significantly stronger because maybe there will be some talks, there will be a discussion about changing the asset purchases in the future. Right, that was the main information for the British pound. Apart from that, what we do have here, we have strong upswing on oil, mainly due to the EIA report. Well, they said that the demand for the oil worldwide is very strong, which helped the price to go higher. I think that the story somehow connected with our market is Bitcoin. Right now, the main story, because China is about to ban Bitcoin trading, and Bitcoin right now is crashing, is going down, I think 8% for a day. It's over 30% this year, so that's quite a significant drop, but we'll see. We'll try to look for find the support there. Okay, so these were main news from the fundamental point of view on the market. So in 27 minutes we'll have CPI, and that will be it for today. As for tomorrow, retail sales from United States, that will be the most important event. Actually, well, overnight we got data from Australia from the job market, and the data was excellent. As you can see, they added 54,000 jobs, and 15,000 was expected, so that was a great number. But after that, data from China came, retail sales, industrial production came worse than expected, and Australia is dependent on China in terms of the trade, and this was a negative, well, that was a positive information. And straight after that, half an hour later, we got a negative influence from the data from China. So let me show you what's going on the markets now from the technical point of view. Dollar is having, first we start with euro dollar, right? And we do have high chances for a reversal here. Maybe not a major reversal, but a bigger correction on American dollar. We cannot say a reversal, as we are still above the trend line, we are still above major supports, but what we do have here is a potentially a head and shoulder formation. We actually broke the support of this head and shoulder formation here, so it's active. That happened on an important resistance, this gray area. Here are lows from 2012, so that's not a coincidence that we stopped there. The first potential target for this movement is here, 118.30. That's still 60 pips. That's all together that comes along with the uptrend line. So that's potentially a nice support to stop the downswing. But the next one is 38.2 Fibonacci, and the yellow area here 117.20. That can be also a good support in case that this one will be broken. It's hard to, it's a lottery always, this ahead of the data. We don't know what the data will be. If there will be a huge miss or a beat of that number, that will have a big influence on the American dollar, right? And we can get a very strong movement here. British pound, we are on new yearly highs. So Brexit, what Brexit, right? We are on the highest level since September 2016. Ahead of this data, we had a chance for a reversal. That the price also was kind of shaping a double top formation, especially on a daily chart. But this ends that, and we are aiming this horizontal resistance. To this resistance, we do have 120 pips, and with this current sentiment, it's well, there are no certain things on the market. But with this sentiment, with this upswing, chances that we will get to this resistance are very high, and it's 134.30, 134.40. So 140 pips to that, 120, let's say. That's not a big difference. And that's the current target of the current movement. That's the upper line of the channel up formation, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened somewhere here, right? So on British pound, on cable British pound to American dollar, full positive scenario. And then we have S&P 500, where we hit all-time highs, which was not a surprise. We were telling you about that since here, that this scenario is more probable. And after we hit those highs, the price made a stop. That's not a rectangle, that's more of a pennant. Pennant is a trend continuation pattern, maybe ascending triangle. It doesn't really matter because both pennant and an ascending triangle in an uptrend, they are promoting a further upswing. So there's a full positive sentiment on S&P 500. We should see a continuation of this movement. No bearish signals here whatsoever. New Zealand dollar to American dollar. The situation was looking much better here, where we had this inverse and shoulder formation and a comeback above this horizontal support. Now, it's a sideways trend. It's a boring sideways trend without any technical occasion, and I won't force myself to look for trading occasions here if there are none. If there are no trading good trading occasions here. Dollar index, that's a good one, because we do have this downtrend here. Well, we still do have a downtrend despite a breakout of the upper of the downtrend line, because the price is still making lower highs and lower lows. And that's typical for a downtrend, right? But first step actually to break this downtrend was already made. So what was that first step? First step was a breakout of the downtrend line here, but they stopped on a very important horizontal resistance created by those lows. But it's not only those lows, you can see that that was respected later on, but it's also a correction equality pattern. So that correction, that one, and that one are almost the same. As you can see, that one is a bit bigger than this one, that one is a bit smaller than this one, but it's more or less the same, especially that it's H4 chart, so those differences are not significant here, that one. So here we have a combination of a correction equality pattern and a horizontal resistance. And it's not a coincidence that the price stopped here, bounced off this level, and is currently heading lower. Obviously, in 20 minutes and 19 minutes, everything will be clear if this movement will continue or we will finally break this resistance. But the fact is that this correction quality pattern worked, this resistance worked, at least for now. Gold. Gold is heading lower. It was doing quite right before. It's still doing alright if we consider new all-time highs on stocks, so we're risk on mode, and if we consider recent correction on American dollar, which American dollar is stronger, so gold was still relatively high. Now, recent trading in last hour, actually it was very positive here 2 hours ago, but last hour brought us reversal, new midterm lows. The sentiment is still positive because as long as we are above the uptrend line and above the horizontal resistance on $1,305 per ounce, the sentiment is definitely positive, no doubts about that. But that bounce from this horizontal resistance here creates a good occasion to go short, but it's a short-term occasion, not a long-term opportunity. We have a support here, maybe we will bounce from this level, for example. On WTI, you can see this influence of the CIA report, where they said that the demand for the oil is high. The price created kind of inverse head and shoulder formation with a left shoulder, head and right shoulder. The sentiment is positive, but the buy signal will be created once we will break 61.8. So far we are below this resistance, and we know that this resistance is strong because it already worked many times, not only here, but you can see here, 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 here. So that's not a random place, that's a strong, respected recently support and resistance. So it may result with a reversal here, we will see. Euro to Japanese yen, for me, no trading signal here. Sentiment is positive, but I don't see a buy signal here in the midterm. Silver. Silver was heading higher also at the beginning of the European session. As you can see, we were on a daily highs with a double bottom bounce from this horizontal resistance, but we broke it. But again, sentiment is very positive as long as we stay above the lower line of the channel up formation. The sentiment is still positive. It won't be crashed, it won't end with the breakout of this horizontal support. That's the first important support. This is the second important support, but the most important one is 16.8, which was respected plenty of times. And in case of a bigger drop, of a bigger reversal, this one, we should look on this one when we will look for a potential stop of this drop. But we are still high, buyers are still safe. That's just a normal correction and such a strong trend that we are seeing from the beginning of July. American dollar to Canadian dollar, that's a good one because in the midterm, in the last few days, the price created flag. Here is a flag. Flag is a trend continuation pattern. The trend before creating this flag was bearish. And the thing is, well, we do have the CPI data, which can go along with the technical analysis or against it. But from the history, from the last history, we can see that American dollar and Canadian dollar loves trend continuation patterns. Here, pennant. Here, flag. Here, maybe I don't want... okay. Is that a technical pattern? Kind of, okay? Not the best one, but still. We had a rectangle here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 trend continuation patterns. Now we have 5th trend continuation pattern, and we will see if it will work. Worse data will trigger a downswing here. Better data, better CPI can trigger an upswing. And the first potential target for this upswing is the yellow area here, around 124.15. To this, we do have 200 pips. In case of a much better data than expected, than expectations, we can see a massive upswing here. But again, data is just lottery. Euro to British pound, that's a good one also, because the price is aiming lower, and the recent downswing is just a result of this rate decision and further comments about asset purchases. But the thing is that the negative scenario here started much earlier. So the negative sentiment started here. Why? Because we had an uptrend, as you can see with this black line. The price was creating upper lows and upper highs, higher highs and higher lows. The price created then a wedge. Wedge is a trend continuation pattern, and with this we broke the upper line of the wedge. But it happened to be a false breakout. So instead of climbing higher and higher, the price came back inside of the wedge. And then it was clear that it's a false breakout. And again, let me repeat that for the that's not the first time we're talking about that. You know that if you're following us, you know that we try to look for false breakouts, and we believe in false breakouts. So the price created a false breakout. That's a signal in the for the strong movement in the opposite direction. The price broke 23.6, broke the trend line, then created a rectangle, and that rectangle was created ahead of the data. And rectangle is a trend continuation pattern, so before the data, technical analysis was pointing south, and the data came. It happened what it happened, so we broke the lower line of the rectangle. We had it much lower to 38.2. That potentially could have been a strong support because it is 38.2 and it was a resistance here, it was a support here. As you can see, now the price broke it without hesitation, without any problems, which questions the support a little bit. The next aim, 50. I don't think that 50 will be important. Let's shift our focus somewhere here. Why here? Because we do have this, or a bit lower here. So I don't think that 50 will be significant. That's a strong drop anyway. So I think that the correction is needed here. To wrap that up, sentiment is negative on euro to British pound. We should see the price aiming lower in the next week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, etc. Canadian dollar to Japanese yen. That's a interesting occasion for long-term traders, because you can see on a daily chart what we're having here is a huge inverse head and shoulder formation. So that's left shoulder, that's a head, that's a right shoulder. And the price broke the neckline finally a few days ago. After the breakout of the neckline, here we tested that as a support and the price went significantly higher, and this upswing is 200 pips. So if you think that you're late here with entering with a long position, well, You may think that, but you have to know that the potential target of this upswing is 1400 pips taken from the neckline, and so far we made, let's say, 1800, so slightly more than 10% of that. So still 80, let's say 80%, we can make 80% more. There is a chance that we will see a small reversal here because the price on a daily chart is creating a shooting star. So maybe you can wait for this correction, this small bearish correction. You can re-enter with a long position here. That can be potentially a nice trade, long-term trade, especially that on Canadian dollar to Japanese yen we are having positive swaps, because you're buying currency with higher interest rate and you're selling currency with lower interest rate. So swaps for Canadian dollar to Japanese yen are positive. Euro to Australian dollar. Let me show you that. Australian dollar got stronger after the data, then it gave back because of the Chinese data. There is no trading signal here, unfortunately. The pair was doing great, but the technical situation recently broke, at least in my view, with the tools that I'm using. Australian dollar to American dollar. Here is this upswing caused by the better data. Then it came, the price went slightly lower because of the Chinese data and because of the stronger dollar. But even, well, we are still under the influence of this shooting star from 8th of September. That's potentially a double top formation. But as you can see, we are still above the uptrend line. We are still above important horizontal supports like this one and this one. If we will get a bit closer, you will see the significance of this green area. With the great accuracy, the price tested those. 1 week, 2nd week, 3rd week. Right, so even if we will break the uptrend line, maybe because of the better data from CPI in 7 minutes, there is a next target. The first target for this movement will be a strong horizontal support here and then here. As long as we stay above those two, sentiment is positive. There is a DAX. DAX is also having a great time and also is having a small correction after they made not all-time highs, because DAX was in a worse situation than S&P 500. But we are on the highest levels since the end of July. We have a buy signal because we broke the upper line of the wedge and foremost those two horizontal resistances. But the thing is that we made that with a bullish gap at the beginning of the week. That gap was not closed. We all know that DAX loves to close gaps. So maybe they will want to do that. They will want to close the gap. If so, we should expect a bearish correction here. Even if the bearish correction will happen, sentiment is still strongly positive. And there is a buy signal on DAX. Data in 5 minutes. In the meantime, American dollar to Polish zloty finally undergoing a stronger correction with a double bottom formation on a very important support on 351 here. We are still in the channel down formation below two important horizontal resistances, so the sentiment is totally negative, and we are slowly getting to a point where sellers can activate. So for example, here or here, which can create a decent trading occasion to go short. American dollar to Mexican peso. I cannot wait to see the breakout here. They had a chance at the end of last week, at the beginning of this week. They didn't use that, so now the price is trying to test the upper line of the symmetric triangle. But remember, this can potentially be a huge trade. If you catch the proper breakout in the proper direction, this can be a very interesting trading occasion. American dollar to Swiss franc bounced off the horizontal support, is heading to a horizontal resistance, so there is a sideways trend here, not tradable for the trend followers as myself. The American dollar to Japanese yen created a false breakout here. Surprisingly, we broke those two horizontal supports and then went significantly higher, but that's just a beautiful example of another example actually of how beautiful are the false breakouts. Once you will be able to find the false breakout, you can take a full advantage of it. Where the false breakout was estimated, here when we came back above two important supports, and since that the price made almost 200 pips without any stop. That's the beauty and the power of false breakouts. Euro to Swiss franc finally broke this horizontal resistance that we are seeing from 14th of August. But is that creating us a buy signal? No, I don't think so. And the Bitcoin was in an interesting place because look at that. We were on 38.2 of the recent wave, but also we were on the 23.6 of this upswing, which started at the beginning of 2016 after this drop from 2013 and this drop seen in 2014, right? So combination of two Fibonacci's here, and it looks like we're gonna break it. The main story here is that, and it was working as a support, no doubts about that. You can see here and here. But the main information here is that China will ban Bitcoin trading as soon as I think in 2 weeks at the end of September. So traders now are selling Bitcoin. Well, where is the potential target? Maybe here, slightly less than $3,000 per Bitcoin. I think that there will be a reversal because there's hundreds and hundreds of people that are very sad that they didn't manage to jump here and here and here, and most definitely they will use those lower prices. We are above 5,000 now. It's 300, 300, 600. So many people will try to jump in here because they were feeling guilty and they were feeling bad that they didn't buy here. So now they have chances to jump into this. So in my opinion, there will be definitely an upswing on Bitcoin, but I'm talking about short-term, mid-term, right? Because this chart that we are seeing here, that's a chart of a typical bubble. I don't know if that ban of Bitcoin trading in China, that was a pop of the balloon, but then that potentially can be a start of bigger troubles here. But on the chart of every bubble, what we're having here is when they hit the top, when there is a first drop, there is always a try to bring the price higher. Mainly because of those traders that missed those movements. Okay guys, now we're having CPI data, so let me turn on euro dollar for example, and the data is there. American dollar first movement, American dollar is stronger, so most probably the data was better than expected. So probably flag on American dollar to Canadian dollar won't work. So yes, we have American dollar stronger because the CPI is 1.9, expected was 1.8. So on this, based on this, we do have stronger dollar. And let's look dollar index. Dollar index didn't move much. Okay, that's a negative information for S&P 500, as we can see. That's a negative information definitely for precious metals, that the American dollar is stronger. So most probably we will have a test of this uptrend line soon. Sometimes technical analysis goes along with the fundamentals, sometimes it goes against. On Mexican peso, we probably gonna see the test of the upper line of this triangle. So that's the outcome of this situation. Thank you very much, guys, for watching daily analytical report. I hope you found some decent trading occasions. If you want more, follow us on Twitter and visit our website alpari.news. Thanks very much and goodbye.